Today I want to dive into something every artist thinks about. And it doesn't matter if you are just starting out or if you are already years into your work. I want to talk about developing a style versus discovering one. Because there is this strange idea that you have to build a style. Like it's something that you choose or control and, polish over time. But what if that is not entirely true? What if your style as an author, as an artist, as whatever kind of creative is already there, buried inside the way you think, the things you are drawn to, and the mistakes you keep on repeating? In today's episode, my good friend and fellow artist MK Gibson and I want to explore that tension between how much of your style is intentional and how much of it reveals itself without you even realizing it. And maybe more importantly, are you forcing that? Or are you allowing it to emerge? Without further ado, welcome back to another Butcher Shop. Am I going to say something about the intro?
See, this time that's twice now you've shot yourself in the foot. We could have just let it go. I didn't say anything. You could have rolled right into it. Man.
I feel like this is just going to.
I haven't done anything the last two times, so this is all on you. This is your issue.
No, I know. So, what are your thoughts?
About the intro?
No, not the intro. About the content of the intro. Jesus, oh my.
You're the host. You're supposed to lead into it. All right.
I just did that for the last minute.
No, that wasn't really you. That was past Sandy. That's not current Sandy.
That doesn't count?
No, it doesn't count.
My God. Okay.
All right. No. What do I think about that?
Let me
go ahead.
ease
Do
you
your
into
thing.
this.
Do your job. I'll stand by.
No,
you're doing great.
Dude,
Anytime now.
Oh, thank you. You know what? I appreciate the mental support here. Okay, so as I said in the intro, and I'm just basically going to repeat the intro again. I noticed. No, this sounds weird. I didn't notice any of that. I know this happens because I've talked to a lot of different artists who have said something similar. But a lot of artists are actively searching for their style. And sometimes that is the result of, gathering a portfolio because they want to reach a certain job. Or sometimes that is just people trying to find out who they are as an artist, etc., etc. But I know a lot of people struggle with finding their style because they feel it's not something they control. And if I'm very honest, I think I've followed a similar sort of path where I thought that, what I made during the Singularian, that was it. I'm going to make this stuff for the rest of my life. And boom, suddenly I was making full color images. And now that has changed a lot. That has done evolutionary leaps over the last three years. So finding a style, I personally figure, is not something that you actively do. It's something that sort of happens to you. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. It makes a complete sense. You think you got it. I'm short of repeating what you just said. It is always a situation where you think you have something but it's not. You are always evolving. Hopefully you're always changing. You're hopefully for the better. And sometimes you come in stagger. You're like drunk. You drunkenly stagger into no, but you stumble is what it's saying. Sometimes you stumble into happy accidents and then you craft it. And then here's the moment something becomes mechanical is when we tend to I want to try something else now, because when it becomes mechanical, it feels that it's the joy of discovery is over. Some people can just crank out the same thing over and over and over, whether that's an art piece, a book piece, a podcast piece, the same video game, the same whatever. And some people enjoy that and some people don't, but ultimately when you're always pushing yourself, you create a new style. In author terms, it's your voice. How do you tell a story? What is, are you a comedy writer?
But how much of that then actually changes? And I think this is what I mean with that tension between, because I feel like, can we even find our actual style or voice? Or because, in 5 years' time, it can be completely different. So can we call it our style, or is it? I don't know, man. I'm rambling on a lot, but I'm just wondering if
no. But here's the thing: it's an interesting topic because it's like here's like we don't have the answer. It's a question that is just meant for the sake of exploration.
Yeah,
There's
it's just
no like
exploring. Sure.
right. When you look at some like great like authors in the time, their style is very easy to understand. It's them, and it's almost impossible to replicate because you're not them. Mark Twain has a very way of, or Hemingway has a way of talking. One of my favorite authors, Robin Hobb, she has a very specific way she writes, and her voice is very powerful. And I've loved the way that she writes, and to copy it is to do a disservice to yourself and to them, but it's also how you practice. When you're a child, you put on your parents' shoes. You literally try to do what they do until you find out what does and doesn't work for you. And then you do the same thing like in school where you try on different personalities, you try on different, what sport fits, what attitude fits. Am I a goth? Am I an art person? Am I a theater kid? Am I sporty? What's my thing, And that's not different in the art world. I mean, you could start as an anime kid, cool. A lot of kids start as anime kid because anime is
most of them do, yeah.
Well, but the thing is, like, sure, but it is a very simple style to see, but surprisingly hard to replicate because
it's very accessible. Yes,
it is accessible, but it's also like it. You can tell who's good and who's bad very clearly. Like when I was going through one of my tattoo apprentices, the gentleman says his final, like to complete your apprenticeship with him, he wants you to tattoo. You have to tattoo him, and you have to do a Disney character because his forearms are filled with Disney characters, and it's weird. I'm like, I kind of baffled me, and then I come to understand why, and it made perfect sense the longer I was practicing. Again, never finished I tried two different apprenticeships, but like I didn't get to finish either one of them. And it made perfect sense because especially when I met that artist, Eric Canetti, when we were doing that, I used to do that one podcast with him, and he's a storyboard artist and briefly worked at Disney. And it was very clear. It's like, if you make a mistake on something that is so well known, it stands out. Like you have to be perfect. If you're going to draw Mickey Mouse, you better not your version of Mickey Mouse. You have to draw Mickey Mouse. And if you try to do your version, it's going to come across as false. And that is the voice that Mickey Mouse. I mean, yes, the look kind of changes over the years, but there's these periods of time where this is the definitive what this character looks like. And that's the voice. That is the artistic voice. And that's why you have to copy it. You have to master it to understand it. And it's hard.
But then what I think of is, so there's these hundreds, if not thousands of people who, for example, want to work at Studio Ghibli. And, as part of the job application, you have to draw and you have to like demonstrate your knowledge about how Studio Ghibli characters are built up, the color theory behind all they do. And these people are replicating that style, obviously, because they want to work within that style. But then I wonder how much of that is actually your style as an artist. Are you not just adapting something that, you are very passionate about, but is that truly who you are as an artist?
If you think that is your last stop, then no, it's not good. If it's a part of your career where you worked at Studio Ghibli for however many years to do this type of thing, then great. But it's not Studio Sandy and it's not Studio Gib. It's Studio Ghibli. It is
Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, but that's my point. It's like, like an amazing animator, Don Bluth, worked for the Disney company for years. He was actually one of the last guys who go through what you refer to as the 6 old men, like these masters of animation who try to teach the people who worked at Disney how. Right. So, and before that knowledge was basically lost to time. And but Don Bluth was one of those guys who he was kind of like a Tesla to Edison kind of thing. Like he loved it. He worked there, but he fought against him so much. He eventually broke off and formed his own thing. Don Bluth did not copy Disney, but he had a voice. His artistic style was unto his own. So if you're going to work for Don Bluth, you have to work in this art style. And everybody's replicating because they're creating the Bluth style animation. Same thing with Studio Ghibli. Same thing like some of the other anime studios. You practice that because eventually, I think the goal for anyone is to basically become like they see that work and know it's yours.
But how is that possible if none of that is actually yours? Because what you're working with is
but also okay. But like, what's the let's be honest, what's the likelihood any one of us is going to have a studio named after them, or going to have a books, not just a famous book series, but a book series so famous that it'll stand like after you're dead, they will talk about how you wrote that book. It is so rare. It's something we strive for, but there is an ultimate reality of that is like, it is, yes, you can be nice and say there's only one you and only you can write the story the way you write it. And that's nice. It's a lie. It's a complete lie. It is 100%. It's the nice things your mom tells you. Like, there are other artists out there who can replicate your style immediately, because
I like how you just ripped that Band-Aid off. And you know what? It's actually...
It's true. It is 100% true. But there might be slight variations. Maybe they do improvements. And yes, maybe there'll be certain imperfections that only you do, fingerprint wise, blah, blah, blah. And like, if you want to get into semantic argument, that's fine. But the point is, there's so few of us who are going to be remembered after we're dead when it comes to artistic endeavors. And that's a painful truth. Again, but if you care about that, if you just want to be a good artist and I want to study with this master, I want to study with this master, I want to learn this, I want to practice that, I want to just be the best I can and do the best I can. I don't care about fame. I care about just making the best thing possible. Then ultimately you're going to succeed at that. If you seek fame, you might never get there. If you seek to just be better, then that's a winnable goal.
What do you seek with your books?
I joke about this all the time. I don't want fame, but I do want to be known. So this is no disrespect to the band, but Weezer. The band Weezer is a band that people have known about for decades. They're not my favorite band, but I like some of their songs. They're always at a concert. They're always producing. Fans love them, but like it is what they are not. It's not Taylor Swift. It's not Madonna. It's not Eminem. It is one of these good bands. It's a good upper mid-card band that's just is around forever. Like, I'm always happy when I get the Weezer album or something to that effect, something on that level, like, the Gibby books, and like humor, action, and heart. It never disappoints. I'm always happy. Good. And moving on, like, and just keep the checks rolling. And that's my goal. Like, that's my level of fame or success. Yeah. Well, it is. I like, again, that's another word, solid. I don't want meteoric. Because there's this podcast I listen to from time to time. I think it's is it called Two to Ramble? It's like these two just book nerds. And one of their latest podcasts they're talking about is like the those who become famous, and like how fans love it when they know something, but when something becomes really popular for everybody, when the normies like it, fans almost start to turn on it. So, well, it happens all the time. Like, it is like, I knew this one 20 years ago. I was at this bookstore / it's a nerd gaming store kind of thing. One of my friends was there for some of his figures to get stuff for his gaming stuff. And I'm looking at their books, and this guy, I won't describe him or name names, but this guy basically, he's asking me what kind of books I like to read. He's a clerk. He works there. And I'm looking at the bookshelf and stuff. I'm like, I've read most of these, and, I like this and this, but I had recently gotten into the Jim Butcher books over the last couple of years. And because they were a break from traditional fantasy, that kind of urban fantasy was kind of very popular at the time. And I was enjoying that as a break from traditional fantasy. And the guy kind of tore me apart, like how it's popular is. It's like, that's not real fantasy. That's not really changing. And he's like, but George Martin and these other guys. I'm like, well, and at that time he only had 3 of his Game of Thrones books out. And this was years before the HBO show.
The dinosaurs still roam the earth.
Right, exactly. But like, he was going on and on and on about how like Grimdark deconstructs this, and it's better writing and it's amazing, and like just kissing George Martin's ass like through and through and through and through. And like, I'm like, yeah, I read the books. I like them. I don't love them, but I like them. And the fact that I only liked them but didn't love them, like, he just saw me as a phony. He was just being a real prick. So imagine this guy, however many years later, when you could like buy a Winter is Coming t-shirt at your local, like, whatever store, when everybody loved Game of Thrones, they had it on their mouse pad, they had it on their phone with their daughters, like people named their kid Khaleesi. This guy thought he was such a hipster know-it-all. I like this book that fewer people know about. I'm so special. To then become the biggest popular thing in the world. And then for it to end the way that it did. I feel this warmth in my heart knowing this guy was mad. Like that, he's like that. All the normies liked what he liked, and he probably hated it. And that fills me with schadenfreude glee. So, yeah. So, but that's my point. Because when we love something, we also love to destroy something. We love to exalt someone and hold them up and say, look at, they're the best. But the moment the person does something that is counterproductive to whatever the moment is in that particular zeitgeist. They will destroy. I'm so over this. I'm so over. Like we tried to have a conversation about like Potter and Rowling, and like we saw the internet comments. You know, like and it wasn't even about politics or anything. It was just.
It was a massacre. No, yeah. It was just to hate. Yeah, and you know what? I find that very interesting because. And I know we have talked about this before in some of our other previous episodes, and I feel like this whole being in search of style sort of brings some of these episodes together. We've talked about the influence of, for example, social media and algorithms and all that kind of stuff. And I've had a couple of responses to that. And some people are calling you, absolutely idiotic if you let algorithms influence you or what you do or how you do it. But at the same time, you and I have also kind of experienced, for ourselves, how strong that influence can be if you want to achieve something with what you do. Now, to connect that with style, because that's the subject we're talking about.
Finding your style, yeah.
Yeah, sure. But okay, so I know there are a lot of artists out there who are finding their style, who think they are finding their style by replicating what the algorithm shows them in their feed. So, if I do that, I can go viral as well. And then I wonder at the end of the day how much of your own identity as an artist. I mean, we know the answer to that. There's not going to be your identity as an artist when that's something you do. But at the same time, we all feel that tug, We all feel the tug of the algorithm telling you, hey, this is trending, this is viral, now go do you with that.
To whoever's saying that, respectfully, pull your head out of your ass. Whoever's saying, I'm trying to be respectful as respectful I can, but it's still, I want to say it in such a way that you pay attention to what I'm about to say. Before there was an algorithm, before the internet, before all that, there were still publishing houses and art houses that responded to what people bought. So when people when pulp novels were selling, they sold more of these pulp novels.
Art has always been curated. Always.
Art has commercial, and when art reaches financial aspects, because guess what? The money's never been in the creating the art. Surprise, surprise. Some of the greatest musicians that the world ever knew came through like Motown Records, or like were used by Motown Records to sell them, and they pay these artists pennies while the Motown Records got rich as shit. It's in a dark part of American history. But it's just a symptom of what we always do. Like Amazon gets rich. I get some money. Okay. If I sell a book for approximately $15, means a paperback, I make about $1.75 to $2 on each book sale after the fact, based on because it depends on printing costs, because now let that sink in, folks. $15 book, I make $1.75 to $2 per book. That's it. And then I pay taxes on that $1.75, $2. So when the time comes. So the world it's never been set up for artists. Like artists make money if they get lucky, they get famous, or selling in bulk volume. Like I have to sell a lot of books. If I sell 1,000 books, I make, there you go, maybe like $2,000,
Well, or you have to cut out the middleman, because, when...
Right. But, and that's where it gets even harder, because who's got the distribution? Who's got the person that puts out the music? Again, Think back in the day, like everybody loves Spotify. Great. You used to buy the music directly. You bought the CDs, but now the street, like, again, these artists don't get much in the way, like it depends who's got the bigger deal. And over and over and over, the money is in distribution. So if you love an artist, buy it from them, or go to their concert, or, something like that. Give them their money directly, or support their Patreon.
And well, speaking of Patreon, have you all gone to patreon.com/SandyButchers? Sorry, I had to do that. No,
good. I mean, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I have a Patreon. I have about 9 very steady people who have been around for since the start of the Singularian, so 5 years now, and I love them with all my heart, and I find it absolutely fantastic that they're still around. I could use a few more Patreons though, so you're welcome to come on board.
I can use any.
Yeah,
also I need a reason to have. I don't give people a reason to support me, other than I write good books, but I don't produce things in such a way that at a timeliness that like, you'll get an extra short story every 6 months. I can't promise you that. I don't
do
know.
weekly early access to the videos and like the podcast itself, and then quarterly art merch. So either art prints or notebooks or stickers or what, like stuff. So people actually get physical goodies 4 times per year. So I try to sort of balance it so that, it also doesn't cost me any money, because there was a time, especially when I was shipping out the Singularian little booklets, that having my Patreon was actually costing me money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm a terrible small business owner because, do the math. Anyway, so yes, this was a little bit of a detour.
No, it's good. But like, even that is like, but it still, it ties into like finding your voice, because it's like, are you creating for the joy of creating? Are you creating for the joy of are you trying to entertain somebody? Are you trying to do it? Are you trying to entertain yourself?
Ultimately, what you want is you want to create because you love creating, but you want to do that more than what our day jobs allow us to do. And so you need the financial counterweight, to work less so that you can do more art. And this is ultimately what stuff like Patreon comes down to, is please help me so that I can do more of what I love, which is kind of a very selfish thing to do. Like, if you pay my bills, I can do more art, yay. And,
Exactly.
Exactly. But at the same time, you know what? I'll give you some benefits. I'll share my art with you. And this is a terrible business pitch, isn't it? But this is what it comes down to, yeah.
Well, some people feel no shame in it whatsoever. Like, I don't care if I'm begging for your money. And there's zero shame in it. I know plenty. Like, I have no problem with like asking for, if I had a Patreon, asking people to do it. I don't have one because I don't feel like I do enough to warrant your $5 a month. I'll take it,
Well, and don't forget, there's also just entire companies who are based around Patreon. It's just a business strategy. It's practically their business is their Patreon page. I mean, there's channels out there that have thousands of subscribers. Like they earn more than I earn in a year, and they do that monthly. So yeah, if you do it right, I guess it's potentially very interesting financially, so they can do more of that. And to tie this into style, and again, to tie this into one of our more previous episodes, how much of that then decides what you get to do? Because if people subscribe to you expecting a certain thing, then how free are you still to discover where your style can potentially go into the future?
Well, again, like, it's like when someone said to you before, don't worry about the algorithm. Again, like, you have to, I'm sick with you. I'm coming back to what you just asked me. It is, there was a time where everybody wanted more urban fantasy. All right, cool. And so people wrote a bunch of it, and it killed the system. Like, there was so much of it that no one wanted it anymore. And then people want new stuff. Like right now, romantasy, very big, obviously very popular, but romantasy switched from like fairy realm sex to like milking minotaur sex. And which basically means like, it's just but it's a matter of time before it switches back into horror. It's like, it'll be horror sex very soon.
I think it's already it's moving there already. I mean,
I know it's moving, but I'm saying, but like there's moving, and then we're going to have like that middle pit of the bandwidth of like the bell curve of like where for the next 4 years, that's what it's just going to be before they move on to like alien sex, Well, I mean, it's kind of like it's fantasy, horror, sci-fi. That's kind of like that's the thing. Like, like zombies are going to come back. So when it's zombie sex, like it's gross. But people will write to that because that's what makes them money. Hopefully, they're being creative in that process. But they're going to respond to the market. But there are some people like my friend Drew Hayes, like author Drew Hayes. He has a Patreon where he's done a really good job negotiating his love and giving, which is he loves to write short fiction. He loves short stories, and he loves novellas and novelettes and these short story type of things. So he's a very creative guy, and he's writing constantly. But he also knows that those don't sell a lot. So he just says, hey, subscribe to me and you'll get these novellas that I don't put up on Amazon. Except every once in a while, once I have like 10 novellas or 10 novelettes, I will put them into one big book, but you get them like years in advance kind of thing. Is it a good deal? I don't know, but people like his work. So he has a fair amount of patrons. So he gets to write what he wants to write and still provide a service. And he still writes the main books that make him money and makes the most of the fans happy. But then he's like, okay, guys, this next few months, I'm writing this for me. This one's for me. And the next one's for you, kind of thing. And once you have that kind of transparency and people that follow you along with it, like that's an honest system with your fans. Is it growth for, is it world dominating? No, but he keeps he keeps his fans happy, while keeping himself happy at the same time.
Exactly. I was just thinking that.
Yeah, and that's ultimately, I think, the goal kind of thing. So
absolutely, yeah. I think if you turn whatever form of art you produce, stories, images, whatever, if you just turn that into a commercial product, if the only reason you're making it is to earn money, is it still art?
Well, we've talked about that before too, and yes, just to a degree, it is. It's still art, you don't have to like it, but it's still an artistic process. It's still an artistic product. You still are making these things to, it's still, it is coming from you. You're building it up. It is an expression. It evokes emotion. So,
but okay. I let you struggle there for a bit, but hear me out. You're welcome. I wonder then, what makes how is that different from, let's say, a spoon or a shoe or whatever kitchen utensil you can think of? Like, that's all been designed by someone else, but I wouldn't call it art. It's there to simply just be sold so that you can use it in whatever context or scenario.
Well, because utility, again, like again, if you're writing, like,
if it's just something that I mass produce and I sell it in IKEA so that people can put it up their wall, I know this could be me, but when I walk into an IKEA and I look at the art prints, whatever, quote unquote art prints, the prints and the stuff that they sell to put on your wall, I don't personally consider it art, and that could absolutely be me, but I look at it as a mass-produced.
And that's okay. I'm gonna say this lovingly. That's a you thing. It is. It very much is, and it's also it's an art school kid thing, and I've known many people that go to art school. I didn't go, and every one of them. Not in my lifetime. I'm not saying all art school kids, but I'm saying but so far the people I've known in my lifetime all have that exact same thing. Like, they're like, ugh, this Bob Ross mass-produced crap.
I appreciate Bob Ross though, and I know that even the photographs, they're taken by someone.
What do they call it? Motel art. That's what they refer to it, like hotel and motel art. And to which I say, lovingly, go fuck yourselves. Like, pull your head out of your ass, you arrogant prick. Like, art is not for you. Art is for the person who appreciates it and to sell it. I mean, again, we could talk at length about how high art is a scandal for rich people and nothing more. There have been constant documentaries about how amazing classic high art, or the real art world, is a boondoggle for rich people to put their money in, to describe value, to write things off, to get out of taxes, blah, 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 blah. But if you're talking about, like, you look at something, you find meaning from it, an art, whether it's mass produced or one of a kind, who gives a shit? It makes you happy. It evokes something. It means something to the person buying it. There are plenty of books. Like, I like The Hunger Games,
but it doesn't even have a name on it.
Right, but again, but it doesn't matter. Like, okay, The Hunger Games was I like the first one a lot. It was a fun story. Cool, mass thing, got a movie, blah, blah, blah. Who gives a shit? Is it Hemingway? No. But it brought me joy for the period of time that it was. And I like some Hemingway stuff. And guess what? Some Hemingway is boring as shit. And it's there. It exists only for highbrow author types to shit on indie or mass creators or whatever. Like, this war never ends. There's always this is not real literature. This is not real art. This is not real sports. This is not a real thing. It's just gatekeeping, and cool, great, but don't pretend that it's not. And I'm not mad at you in this situation, but you poked a nerve that I've been having this fight with certain people for years. So,
like I said, it's a good mirror for me, because I know that that's how I look at stuff when I'm at whatever store, like I buy a lot of picture frames in stores, and they always have like this standard print artsy thingy inside of it. Like, oh, look at me, I'm a picture frame. You can put art inside of me. This is the art. And then I'm like, I rip that. I don't for even 1 second consider that somebody made the image that is put in there. So, and I am well aware that I do that. I just don't give a fuck. But so I don't know. Maybe I am gatekeeping. Maybe I am giving art my own definition. Like it has to be made of something, or at least like there has to be a name on it. I need to be able to know who made it or put a signature on it. Like let me see that it was made by someone, and then I can accept it as something that someone made. But if it's just there as an industrial piece, yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. And this is like, and this is not meant to be painful or hurtful or like that, but it is. Is there a sense of jealousy? Meaning, I work very hard in my style for this. This person comes along and cranks this crap out, sells it to Target, or Target does whatever, or whatever, IKEA, whatever, and they mass produce this thing.
And then her work is everywhere, and mine is not. I 100% understand where this question comes from. I actually think it's a very good question, and I don't consider it to be hurtful or anyway. I know there is no jealousy at all. And here's why, and you're probably going to laugh or judge me very, very harshly, but because I don't consider it art, it does not form a threat to me. I've seen the processes of these industrial pieces. Like a friend of mine works at a marketing company, and all he does all day, every day is smack Spider-Man pictures on drinking bottles. And those assets, the Spider-Man assets, come from this sort of data bank where they just are there and they have permission to use that for, specific goods. So it doesn't feel like, it is art, even though it was made by someone and then it was put onto a product by someone. It forms no threat. I kind of, in a way, I actually feel sad for the person who made it because they are getting no credit whatsoever. They're being pissed on all the time.
Maybe. I mean, they might have gotten paid. Because there are people out there.
Of course, they are getting paid, but they're not getting the fame that they might look for as an artist.
Yeah, but again, that's a great point.
And maybe they're not looking for that, of course.
Right, but that's the thing, is it fame? So, like, for example, like, there might be an amazing musicians out there, just musicians who want to create beautiful music, and then, but they're not, their original compositions aren't selling, so they write. But then there's people out there who write like commercials for like jingles for commercials. They want to do movies like John Williams. I want to do Silvestri. I want to create music like John Williams. I want these epic scores. I want people to like hum the Star Wars song, knowing that's my song, and they never get anywhere. But some guy who writes like commercial jingles.
It's this sense of prestige tied to art, I guess.
Right, but that's the thing. It's the prestige, and it's like, maybe I am way too come from like way too much poor folk to like everything about prestige, and like maybe, and there's gonna be like, no, I think I deserve prestige. I don't know, but like if prestige happens, great, but I'm not aiming for it.
Ooh, okay, so I exactly, and I'm very similar in that way. If prestige happens, I'm not gonna walk away from it.
Right, I'm not gonna say no. Yeah.
No, exactly, and like I'm not saying that I grew up poor, but. I've seen the bottom of the bank, so to speak.
Yeah, sure.
I think the pressure I put on my own work is because I never want to be there again. So it's more of I want to sustain myself. I wish I could sustain myself entirely based on what I love to do, but I can't. So there is a little bit more pressure on that. Does that make sense?
Kind of, yeah. It's a tricky situation because, like, of course, that you want to be there again, and it makes perfect sense. Who does? But at the same time, like, there's this, we have this problem where we ascribe like value to things, like, and like this has value, this does not have value. This piece of hotel art has no value to me, but to someone else, like it inspires them. Maybe it is just for example, I have seen some mass-produced piece of art that is like, it's just a stream and a water wheel next to an old shack kind of thing. Right. And that means to them, like, that's crap. But I see that and I think of my grandparents because they had these water wheels at the house because they lived near one up by the stream, and like it evokes an emotion, like, and like, am I just, I find value in that. So am I all of a sudden like, like, am I part of the problem? Am I part of the solution? Like it is.
No, I get that. When you're in a hotel.
But at the same time, it's the same conversation as we search for our voice. You are your style, your voice, your creative, like, this is my rock upon which I stand, see me world, give me, like Archimedes, give me a lever and a place to stand, I'll move the world, and cool. But, and there's other people like who don't do that. They take the corporate job, they get more money, they surpass you, and they do all these things. Do they cheat? Do they go the right way? Do they go the wrong way? Is it sour grapes? Is it sweet lemons? Like, and that's ultimately, that's everyone's journey. Because it goes back to the said before, very few people will ever be known forever for their work, or worse, you find out they were genius after they're dead, so
usually,
like,
yeah, that's usually how it goes. You're dead.
I don't want to be a starving artist. I want to be a well-fed artist. I want to be a well-fed artist who enjoys their work again, but not too much, not too big. Like, I would comfortable comfort plus. I think that's the best way of putting it.
But not fat.
comfort plus. Right. Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, we've seen way too many creative people get like eventually just destroyed. Just time happens where people are like, nope, I'm done with these people. And
but this is a constant fear that I even experience. Like, when are people going to get tired of me and my art? But that is an imposter syndrome conversation for a whole other episode, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. All right. So I think we've taken a little bit of a detour on, finding style.
Per usual.
Yes. I don't know. I felt like it was a good starting point, and potentially.
No, it's a great starting point because, again, like, in search of your truest self is always. I mean, that's life. That's philosophy. It's not just art. It's a great place to be as a person. So that search of self-discovery, is always going to have bumps, and it's going to have compromises. It's going to have leaps. It's going to have plateaus. And the same thing with, like, it's the same thing with art. It's the same thing with writing. It's the same thing with music. It's the same thing with weightlifting. Fitness. Like, these are all truisms that, like, we have to, like, face, and then we get real. You'll look at somebody else and you measure yourself, but and that's just relativity. Like, you can't do that. You can't measure yourself against other people because you will either, unless always look backwards. If you look at other people and say, I'm so much better than, and then great, feel good about yourself.
Go pat yourself in the shoulder, and there you go.
Exactly.
Yeah. No,
look at those first graders. I write so much better than they do. Fuck those kids.
I feel so good right now. I feel so good about myself.
Stupid kids with finger paint.
And they think they can do everything. They just can't. Thank you very much for tying this back to the subject, though. I was trying to sort of round up the episode with that, and I was halfway thinking, Jesus, what am I saying? I'm never going to bring this to a solid end, so I'm sorry. I'm thankful for you tying this back to the subject. I think with this high time we go to our questions to the audience, and I have no idea, so I'm going to leave this one all the way up to you.
Why haven't you bought my books yet? That's what it really matters. Why haven't you subscribed to Sandy's? Like, what do you, do the dumb one? What do you think? But ultimately, like, it's, how would you describe your journey? Do you compare yourself to others? Do you think it's just about, your personal journey? Do you think, do you look at other people and say, that's not art? These are all, as we search for our voice, and sometimes our voice becomes a little catty. Do you have a live and let live philosophy? Do you believe that you're in competition? Do rising tides really lift all boats, or is that just bullshit because it only lifts a few boats while the rest of us are still stuck on the land,
Good one. I'm not going to repeat that. I'm just going to ask people to drop their comments down below in the comments section. And if you enjoyed this episode, even though it was a long way around, hit that like and subscribe button. Or if you're listening on Spotify, be sure to follow us and leave your comment there. Thank you so much for joining us. And Gibby, as always, thank you very much for joining me on the conversation.
Anytime, dude. Anytime.
And I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.